Hi my dear supportive parents, in this video we look at why education is still important. I had a lot of youth and the students that asking me a question which is very important, and we need to answer that question because now with what is happening with the government chaos, things that are happening right now, they start seeing education as if it's now irrelevant, which is true. If you look at the things that are happening, one could understand why our children, why youth, why they're asking these type of questions. The question is usually related to why do I have to go to a school? Why do I have to get education when there are no jobs? When people are not working. You find that in the same street wherever they are staying, there's one uncle, malumenyana, or a khali, or a brother or sister or cousin who completed matric, but they are still at home. Others, even worse, they've got qualification, they have graduated maybe, but they still can't find a job and they're still at home. So because our children, they actually link education and jobs. So if the job is no longer there, they don't see the reason why they still have to go to school. But in this video, I want to sort of highlight some of the things that are very important that I think maybe could sort of answer that question. All right, if you look at the very first part here, it's important to understand that the level and the quality of knowledge is very important. Sometimes we may have a knowledge, but if it's only general knowledge and it's not serving them for them to achieve a specific goal, maybe they want to achieve something, but because of the knowledge that they have, the knowledge maybe is irrelevant to whatever the goal that they want to achieve. So the level and the quality of knowledge is very important. In other words, we need a quality education. We need education that is relevant to the current economy, that is relevant to the problems that we have right now. Like for instance, whatever that I was taught as a young man, maybe while I was studying Murudi, the content inside the subject that I was doing. Like for instance, we used to draw and label a lizard, draw and label a fish. And if right now, I'm not sure if you're a teacher, maybe you know a teacher, but if for some reason our children are still being taught some of those type of things even today, that is now irrelevant, to be honest, unless maybe the child is planning to become fish doctor. I don't know if there's something like that, or maybe somebody who will be dealing with fish, or somebody will be dealing with lizard. If the plan was after the matric, after accumulating all this knowledge, this is the reason why I'm talking about quality of knowledge and the level of knowledge. The higher the level and the higher the quality, the better. All right, that knowledge, quality of knowledge must be relevant to their goal or their major plan, or maybe whatever that they want to do in future. In other words, the career path. If the quality of knowledge and the level of knowledge is high and there's value in it, and that value will be able to help them to achieve a specific goal, whether career path or career-wise or in their journey, and it will also help them to succeed, then that knowledge is relevant. So this is the reason why sometimes when you look at education, if the education if the education that we have right now cannot serve that, then that becomes irrelevant. Sometimes I ask myself, who decides on what our children are supposed to be taught? I don't know, maybe we've got some professors that sit down and decide what is it that our children must be taught. I'd like to take this discussion further. Maybe one day I'll meet with the guys who make this type of decisions, because we really need to review our education and the content that is inside. Subject like mathematics, science, we still understand, but the other stuff that I think it's time that we review them, because now if we don't look at the education system that we have, if you don't review it, if you don't look at the skills, if you don't look at technology, the opportunities that comes with this type of technology and education, if these things are not in balance, if there are a lot of irrelevance, then one would understand why our children are actually asking these type of questions. And another thing that I want to touch on is the law of accumulation and career success. The law of accumulation simply states that all the little things that our children learn, eventually they accumulate in something big. Every little thing that they learn, eventually it comes to something big. So imagine if we feed them the type of knowledge that is irrelevant to the marketplace, that is irrelevant to what the people need, that is relevant to what the business world need, that is irrelevant to the economy. That on its own becomes a problem, because now that type of knowledge will accumulate, but it will accumulate up to a point where it's not going to help them with anything. and that is not what we want. I'm certain as a parent where I'm sitting, I don't want to see one of my daughters or one of my children or the people that I'm coaching having to learn a lot of things that are not going to help them at the end of the day. So yes, law of accumulation, even if we teach them something good, no matter how small it is, but eventually it will accumulate into something big, and that on its own will sort of help them with their career success. So what we need to know, we need to encourage them to learn whatever that they need to learn, but it must be something that is relevant, something that is good, something that is aligned with their career path, that is aligned with their future plans, that is aligned with the economy, that is aligned with what the marketplace need. And then secondly, while they are still learning, obviously we need to find a way for them to start taking action, some kind of an activity. They must link the knowledge and some kind of an action. In other words, you learn how to cook, but at the same time you cook. Then you build experience on that, eventually become something else. Unlike learning about cooking, you do a lot of theory. But 10 years later, after you've got the qualification, this is basically when you start cooking, doing the work. So that on its own becomes a problem. And this is unfortunately the system that we have in South Africa. We learn, we give them theory, but little activity that they're supposed to do. We need to look at that, my dear parents, very, very important. And then we also need to help them to use their time well. Because again, if I'm going to spend 12 years of my life learning something that is going to be irrelevant at the end of the day, that on its own, my dear parent, it's going to be a problem. This is the reason why our children, they still don't understand why do they have to go to school. I interact with a lot of them, and these are some of the questions that they ask, because if there are no jobs, why do they spend time to even go to school? So we need to start looking at those things so that we build a generation with a mindset, a good mindset, growth mindset, and then we help them to see the bigger picture. The promise must look good for them so that they are willing to go through the pain. If the pain, they are not going to be willing to go through the pain of studying and learning if already the future is not looking good, if already the promised land is not looking good. So we need to find a balance on those two things. All right, that will be all on this video. I hope you got something, and I would like to see your comment. Please send your comments in regard with this important question. Comments, opinion, criticism, anything. And then please also remember to subscribe and share this video with your peers and your associates and other parents so that we spread this message. I'm hoping this video can reach somebody who's probably make decisions when coming to all these things that we are talking about here. Because these are the questions that I get from our youth, our students. And if you don't give them the answers, if you don't give them clarity, eventually they don't see the point of them getting education or even going to school. Thanks a lot, my dear parents. I hope you got something good out of this video, something to think about. And then until I see you on another video, my name is Piolon Duka, and this is the Light for Youth Academy. As I sign off, cheers until I see you on another video. Bye for now.